I'm the NYC Traveler. Sailing from New York, which means I took the train in and took a car service to Manhattan Cruise Terminal so that we could be on the Norwegian Getaway. For more tips for your trips, please like and subscribe. We had last been on the Norwegian Cruise Line's Getaway cruise ship in 2023. And although it was only 2 years later, we were anxious to see if there were any changes. As of this sailing, Norwegian Cruise Lines has you to check in at home to make a reservation to board the ship. This is to avoid overcrowding at the cruise terminal. After boarding, we checked in to our assembly station, the place we would go to in case of an emergency. We had already watched the emergency video at home, which is required before you check in. But if you turn on the TV in your cabin stateroom, the video is required again before you can watch anything else. After that, it was time to explore the ship. We started on deck 6 with the atrium. Also on this deck was guest services, shore excursions, the internet help, dining reservations, all those other helpful desks that you might need throughout your cruise. And we did. We traveled with a child this time around, 10 years old, and we wanted to make sure that he had access to the app because he wasn't allowed to create an account because he's under 18. So we went to the internet help desk. We also ate with that same child and another one in one of the specialty dining, Le Bistro. We had the More at Sea package, and we had about 3 or 4 meals that we could access with our More at Sea package. So we wanted to make sure that if kids were with us, that they were able to order or able to sit with us in the specialty dining, and they were. They were allowed to order off the children's menu. We also went to teppanyaki as part of our More at Sea package with those same children. One of them opted to get off the kids' menu. The other definitely wanted the hibachi experience, and so you will have to pay for that child if they're going to have the hibachi experience. Both restaurants are closed during the day, and they may be used for other events that might be happening that the ship has. On that same deck is headliners. This time around, we didn't get to see any of the comedians that were headlining at the club. Check your newsletters. Sometimes they have family-friendly comedy routines that will happen earlier, and then the adult ones will happen later on. The art gallery is on deck 6. Check your newsletter for art gallery events. There's an interesting club that is also on deck 6, forward, the Illusionarium, which nobody could ever say. Illusionarium, whatever. It is a charming place, and a lot of events are held. Sometimes the entertainment and the trivia, activities, possibly the art auction, you never know. So on deck 6, head over to the library for books, games, puzzles. You have to check out books, otherwise you have to pay them back. The meeting rooms, make sure that you reserve them. Call the cruise line beforehand, before you get on board. Through that corridor, you will come to the bottom of the atrium where a lot of events are held, including your trivia games, sometimes movies, sometimes performances, even cake making. This area of deck 6 can get pretty crowded with activities, Starbucks, and the atrium bar. Also on deck 6, you will find Taste and Savor, twin dining rooms across from each other. They can get extremely crowded for meals. They serve all 3 meals, sit-down meals. Also check on port days, disembarkation days, embarkation days, when they will be open. They serve the same menu as the Manhattan Room. Manhattan Room is only open for dinner. So if you want sit-down service, Taste and Savor will be there. Moving up to deck 7, the theater is forward. It seems to be a smaller theater than some of the other Norwegian ships, particularly the later ships that came after this model. And this is why you have to make reservations for some of the shows. Once the seats are released, standby people can enter in. Another brand of Norwegian, Ocean's, the 24-hour bar and grill, where you can get food, good alternative when the buffet is closed. Sometimes it might be a 15-minute downtime while they switch out the menus. There is an inside area to the restaurant, but it actually spills out onto the deck. It also has a game area. Some of the games might be included in the arcade package, probably not the bowling, which is a very popular feature. The fun part about Ocean's, you can actually look down to deck 6 and see some of those activities that are happening as they are going on. Deck 7 also has the bar and the casino, bar 21 that is. Shanghai's Noodle Bar, which is still complimentary. You don't really have to make reservations. Don't forget that the casino is closed when the ship is in port. And you have to be a certain age to be in the casino. Unfortunately, you're walking through the casino to get from, forward, and aft. So if you have children, walk through quickly. Otherwise, they're going to remind you that children are not allowed in the casino area. There is a smoking part of the casino. It's not in the outer areas. There's enclosed part there. They know that sometimes casino people like to smoke. Bliss is a dance lounge. It's open for adults after 11 p.m. During the day, you might see activities that are there. So just make sure you check your newsletter to make sure that you know when Bliss is family friendly and when Bliss is going to be for adults only. Also, aft on deck 7 is the Manhattan Room, the larger of the 3 complimentary dining rooms. It is only open for dinner, which is why Taste and Savor get pretty busy for breakfast and lunch. But they have entertainment there. If you have a large party and you want to sit together, this is the place to go. We're up on deck 8. Sid Norman's Poorhouse, which is a brand that Norwegian created. Sid Norman is a fictional character. He really wasn't an agent or a talent agent or a manager back in the day, and now he's opened up this club. But here's his club. Sometimes there's a line to get in. It's a cast that plays regular rock music for you. It's great. Across from Sid Norman's is La Cucina, another specialty dining restaurant. Kids can eat free if they're eating off the complimentary menu, but if they want the pizza that La Cucina sells, then you're going to have to pay for it. Normally, La Cucina lately has not been overly crowded. You might be able to get a reservation at the last minute, but as usual, we recommend that you do it before you board. And if you have a very large party with different accounts, make sure you check that you can all sit together. Now we're going over to the Sunset Bar, which is a specialty bar that serves a lot of whiskey and bourbon drinks. It can get a little crowded because it's right next to Sid Norman's. There's a lounge area that's leading out toward the atrium overhang on deck 8, and it's quite likely that since La Cucina is across the way from the Sunset Bar, your drink might be coming from there. So there you go. Off the Sunset Bar is the Cigar Humidor and Lounge. You can bring your own cigars on the ship if you want to smoke them in the cigar area. Adults only. They do sell cigars here if you want to, but as we say, I've been reading on it since I don't smoke. They said that it's actually better if you bring your own cigars if you want a certain quality. The Ice Bar is deck 8 midship. It wasn't really open during the day, and during the evening we were kind of busy when we were on the ship, so we didn't really get a chance to go on it this time around. We have been on this Ice Bar before on this particular ship, and it was a great experience. The bar serves both family-friendly drinks and cocktails, so the entire family can participate. Yes, it does get cold. Yes, they do give you things to wear. Across is the Raw Bar, not related. You can get your oysters, your sushi, and etc. It costs extra. It's not really the specialty restaurant. The specialty restaurant is next door, Ocean Blue. During the day, it might be used for events, but it is one of the first ones to get booked very, very quickly. Ashamed to tell you, we haven't even eaten there yet because we can't get reservations when we have specialty dining. We did, however, were able to get into Wasabi, which was open for lunch, and we used our specialty dining package for Wasabi. That was great, and because there were so few people there, we really got very good service while we were there. So that's a tip for you. Try to use Wasabi for lunch, and then, you never know. Next door, back behind, if you can see it, to the Ice Bar was the Mojito Bar, Sugarcane Mojito Bar. Before you head out to the shops, you will also hear while you're at the Sugarcane Mojito Bar and when you're in the shops, there will be entertainment there. So it can get a little bit crowded, especially when it's a sea day and everyone is in the shops. The shops on this ship, they're pretty good. They have a lot of things that are happening. Of course, they're going to have events. They're going to have raffles. They're going to have a lot of things that you need. However, it is best for certain things maybe to shop on land before you need something that you're on the ship. But for the other beauty supplies and things like that, here you go. All of the shops are on this deck, and they're in one area, unlike some of the other Norwegian ships, including if you buy alcohol. Don't forget, if you buy alcohol on the ship or off the ship when you're in port. They're going to hold it for you until the last day, or sometimes you might have to pick it up in the morning. Sometimes they deliver it, sometimes you have to go and pick it up. Just double check when you buy it. The photo shop is also on this deck. If you have photos taken, not the ones in the specialty restaurants where they kind of bring it to you already printed out and they want to sell it to you there, but if you have your photos taken while you're on board somewhere else and when you're coming off, you'll have to order them there. Modernos and Cagney's, great restaurants. I've been to both. They have the Prime Meridian bar, which is directly in between these two restaurants. You don't have to have a reservation for Modernos or Cagney's to use the Prime Meridian. Modernos is the churrascaria, which if you're familiar with that style of dining, it's mostly meat. They continuously bring it to your table all the time, and you have to tell them when you want more and when you want to stop. There wasn't this time around a seafood option on Moderno, so if you're eating with other people, there's a salad bar with soup. You might want to grab that if you do not eat meat. Cagney's, on the other hand, even though it's a steakhouse, they do have seafood options. That's what I have. So while someone else is having their meat, I can dine at Cagney's because there are a couple of seafood options there. For children, they can order off the complimentary menu if they want to, and everybody will be fine. The bake shop and the gelateria are here on deck 8 before you head outside. The bake shop is actually inside. If you want the gelato, you're going to have to go outside. Now, when it's really bad weather, then they might serve the gelato from the inside side. But I think that's to break up the crowd, and so that they don't have so many people that are hanging out in that shop and making it crowded. As you can see, it can get kind of tiny in there for the bake shop. So that's your bake shop and that's your gelateria. Another branded feature of Norwegian cruise ships is Ocean Boulevard. Usually it's on deck 8 of the ships. Not all the ships, but usually. It's deck 8 here. The feature is usually, this is your old promenade deck, where you can stroll all the way around the deck. Except on this ship, on the Getaway, you can't walk entirely around the ship because the deck 8 staterooms start at some point and then you'll have to loop around. All of the restaurants that are on deck 8, they open, except for the Manhattan room, which is actually on deck 7, but it's the top of it. But all of the restaurants on deck 8 actually have some outdoor dining. There are a couple of bars that are there, so when it's nicer weather, come out here and see whether you can get what you want. Ocean Blue actually has, this wasn't open actually when we were there, but Ocean Blue has an outside feature as well. We weren't able to partake of it, so we still can't get to Ocean Blue, but we're going to get there at one point. But deck 8, the smoking area is also on this deck, so be careful which area that you see when you are strolling around deck 8. But as you can see, you can walk mostly around the entire deck. It's your promenade deck, and then be careful. As you can see, sometimes it's closed off for safety reasons. Now we're on deck 12. This is the first time that I was able to experience Splash Academy as a guardian. I had a child with me. If you are not the parent and you are bringing a child on the ship, you will have to fill out the guardian form, the permission slip for the child, and both parents will have to sign it and have it notarized, and they have to send copies of their IDs. And if you're going to certain countries, we were going to Canada, we had to have a second letter that Canada required. Then when we registered the child, both parents had to be up there again. We showed our IDs. For us, the child was 10 years old, so we chose the option that the child could sign himself in and out of the club when he wanted to. Which the child enjoyed certain times. Sometimes the child wanted us to walk him there. Sometimes he was like, I will meet you someplace else. There's also another program, Splash, is for ages 3 to 12. Did take advantage of the extended hours time from 10 p.m. to midnight. They do charge a fee for that. Otherwise, the club is free during the day. It's not open when the ship is in port, so you can't drop your child and then get off the ship. There's also another one. The Splash Academy is for ages 3 to 12. They separate the kids. The younger ones are not with the older ones. Guppies is not a drop-off service. If you have a child 6 months to 2.5 to 3 years old, you can go play upstairs in Guppies. We didn't get a chance to go and show Guppies this time around, but it's a player area where you can go and play with your child. This is the breakaway class, and the Getaway has a very large buffet, a little bit bigger than the Prima that we were on before, and that's because the Prima had other options to eat, but I like a big buffet. One, it doesn't get too crowded. Two, although you have other options on the ship, people like the buffet because there are a lot of different foods that they will have for you to eat. This buffet, as most of Norwegian, it's not open 24 hours, but in between, when they're closing between lunch and dinner, they serve tea time. Not the same tea time on Carnival ship, but they have your options there to tide you over. Then also on deck 15, believe it or not, after all that eating, there is the fitness area. First, you have your spa and salon. You can get a haircut, get your hair done. You can actually get a pedicure, you can get a manicure, and of course you can get your massages. Everything costs extra, of course. They have some consultation fees for, health and wellness, and also they have some products that they will sell you. Also, they have the fitness center. It's only for people ages 16 and under, and sometimes there are kids who do play competitive sports and want to stay in shape. You will have to find other ways to exercise with your child, maybe walk around a jogging track or something like that. But it's a pretty decent fitness room, and if you want to, stay in shape after you've come from the buffet, just walk right on down deck 15 and you'll go right into Pulse. In between the cafe and the salon and fitness area, of course, are the pools and the hot tubs. This is the pool area. Actually, people use them. People in there. When they are open, especially in better weather, very early, people were doing laps and taking advantage of the fact that there were not a lot of people that were in the pool. But they can get very crowded. One reason why they can get very crowded is that Norwegian, the Getaway rather, has 3 water slides on this ship, and they end right there. The Waves Bar is there, of course, deck 15. They're going to have entertainment there, and you can also pick up towels there. Remember that you have to give them back. They do sell towels. If you want a towel to bring home that says Norwegian, you have to show your key card. If you don't show your key card, you won't get the towel, and if you don't bring the towel back, they're going to charge you. Deck 16, go upstairs, American Diner. They have sort of funny hours, just double check. It's complimentary, it's sit down service. It's normally not open for dinner, usually for breakfast and lunch. Breakfast, it's a buffet. It's a great buffet, actually. It seems small, but they have an omelet station. They have a lot of things that they serve there. Check it out in case the regular buffet gets crowded. The jogging track is on deck 16. The fitness is on deck 15. The jogging track is on deck 16. It does pass right by the same way where people are coming in from the American Diner, and the arcade is there, as you'll see. So sometimes the jogging track, the entry and exit near the American Diner, be careful, especially early in the morning. People will be using the jogging track. A lot of sun places up here. Places to lounge, that is, for the sun. Deck 15 and deck 16. Deck 16 has Spice H2O, which is a adult-only area, the free one. And after 7 p.m., it becomes a family-friendly area. There are movies sometimes that are shown there. The video arcade, very popular, especially since they sell an arcade package. I do not recommend buying an arcade package for every single person in your stateroom, but, at the time we sailed, it was $175 for the sailing. So, be careful of that. They also have some cautionary things that are built in, like the kid can't keep swiping over and over again. Entourage, if you want to see what Entourage and Splash, the kids clubs and the teen clubs, you want to see what they look like, see it on embarkation day. After that, no adults are allowed in either area, even adults who have children registered there. You can only visit on embarkation day. This time around, I did see kids using this lounge. Usually they meet people there, hang out there, exchange phone numbers so they can text each other, and then usually the lounge stays empty. If no one's there, the lounge will close. Deck 17, very popular on this ship because they have a full-size basketball court in addition to the ropes course. The ropes course is still currently free here on the Getaway. Sometimes it's closed if the weather is not going to be cooperative. And that includes even if it's a nice sunny warm day, if it's too windy, which you know can happen on the upper decks of a ship, if it's too windy, it's going to close. That is actually a worker that was double checking to make sure everything was safe before they opened it up. The basketball court, there might be other activities happening, so be careful in case you want to do free play. Shuffleboard is still on this ship, believe it or not. It was down on deck 7. And there are your hours. Check the newsletters for when everything is open. Vibe Beach Club. They took out a deck and made it for adults only, except it's an upcharge. And from what I'm reading on the blogs, it sells out fast. Like really fast. Like when they open it up, it will sell out within 15 minutes. I don't know why. I use Spice H2O. And that's what it looks like if you're on deck 18, another sun deck. Plenty of places for people to lounge out. Not too many people went up to deck 18 when we were there, so they never really laid out those chairs. But I'm sure when this ship goes to other locations and other itineraries, it gets used. And there you saw that the sail away party, we were able to have it there instead of the atrium. It was warm weather. What was our cabin like? Well, to save money, I chose a really tiny, small cabin. And we added the child later. So when I called up, she said, oh yeah, 3 people can fit into that cabin. Well, yes, technically they can. But it was tiny. But actually, it was pretty comfortable and we made it work. One reason why we made it work is that we can store our luggage underneath the beds. So they can do that, and we put the child's luggage behind the curtain over there. So everything went okay. The bathroom is a bit tiny, but this, like I said, this is an older ship now. It wasn't an older when we first sailed the Breakaway back in 2015, and then the Getaway came after it. But now this is considered one of the older ships. So some of the cabins are going to be a bit smaller, and that's because some of the common areas are a bit not louder, they're larger. There is some storage space. We did have some shelves, but you know, we really actually didn't use those. Because I used packing cubes, I had my clothes in packing cubes and I put them in the shelves in the closet. We did have that ottoman, and we actually stored our snacks that we brought on board in the ottoman. The 2 large drawers under the couch, we unpacked the child and put his clothes in the drawers so that he could have access to them, and we took the closet. So actually we did make it work. The upgrades that they did the last time we were on the Getaway, well actually when the Breakaway first sailed and the Getaway was the same, they didn't have the ports where you could charge your phone right there. Please be kind, folks. Sometimes the ports don't work well because people are jerking them in and out and everything like that. So what did we think? This is a good ship if you have a very busy itinerary. There are a lot of things to do on board. Your cabin might be a little bit tiny, but then again, you know, there are a lot of activities that you can do. Since this is now a quote-unquote older ship, some of the areas that are open in the evening became quiet areas during the day because there is no large lounge like their newer ships. As a consequence, the atrium on deck 6 got very busy. There are plenty of places to hang out when you're outside, but when the itinerary is in cooler climates, it was a bit cramped inside. This cruise was sold out, but I think the Getaway handled dinner fairly well. We did not wait more than 15 minutes to be seated, and we were a party of 10. The children with our group liked the kids club, but it was the basketball court and the arcade that held our 10-year-olds' attention. The sports complex is still free, and the 3 water slides are a great bonus. Entertainment was good, but since the theater is small, some cruisers were annoyed about having to make reservations for some shows, and the shows were full every time. The crew was very professional and hospitable. I would recommend that you can consider the Getaway, especially if the itinerary is appealing, and also, since there are now new and larger ships, the price might be right. I'm the NYC Traveler. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips for your trips, and we'll see you on the next cruise. For more tips for your trips, please like and subscribe.